Ashish,
Hey,
welcome to D2C Podcast. Super excited to have you.
no, I'm really excited to be here. I'm usually on the other side, interacting with brands and enablers. Glad to be here on the GoKwik D2C podcast and see if I can provide value for our listeners.
Thanks, Ashish. You have a very super interesting profile and you run a community wherein you have some brands, you have some investors, you have some enablers.
Right.
Let me start with that only that, how have you got everyone under the same umbrella? What's the glue? What is the part of this initiative? And then we'll drill down into different aspects of D2C, which I'm sure you really know better.
Yeah, thanks, Chirag. So I've been a community builder from the last 8 years, right? Spanning across SaaS brands. I've also been in part of this Draper network, right? Trying to build that like community in India for entrepreneurs, right? I've been looking at how at least the ecosystem has evolved from 2015, so to speak, right? You guys have seen obviously much more than that, right? I've come in the entry point of internet brands coming into play and SaaS growing up and enablement for a lot of consumerization happening across. So I think pandemic was definitely the reason for me to get interested to see what was happening with our own behaviors, right? So we were sitting at home buying online mostly, right? We were all not going out to retail shops anymore to buy, but we were sitting and trying to find brands and stores to buy from online, right? And that's where I think I became a customer myself for a lot of D2C brands, right? And when that started to happen, the what really got me interesting to even like start interacting and talking to the folks is that the kind of mission that they come up with, right? The kind of change that they come want to get in consumer life, right? The kind of support that they want to bring in, not just from their product, but as an ecosystem as well, right? So let's say if you're trying to build something, as a pet care product, right? You want to be building for those pet parents, right? Helping their lives better, helping their pets' health better, right? And helping them to be either good groomed or good nutrition or whatever that is, right? And now we are seeing that happening across, right? Everyone, like, your startup can be your baby, your pet can be your baby, your car can be your baby, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
So I think that care towards your own uh, uh, things around you started to become more important with how we were living in the pandemic, being in our houses, right? And that I think eventually formed the reason of these entrepreneurs coming into play and started to build first for their own issues and then started to talk to people around them and they'll be like, hey, nobody is looking at this at all, let's build something, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons, and second reason was also for me is my friend was having this passion of creating an apparel brand, right? Which could have a lot of mural designs, right, on their t-shirts and enable people to go very crazy. Why should murals only be seen on walls? It should be also seen on t-shirts, right?
What's
And
the name of this brand?
I can't reveal that yet to launch,
Yet
right?
to
Yeah. So been working on that front for a long time, and what the whole reason me and him have been doing this was to also understand what's going on in the ecosystem and how to get there, right? And that for me, I wanted to learn from other entrepreneurs. I wanted to learn how support systems exist for other entrepreneurs as well, while I am also trying to grow myself, right? And through this process, being a tech guy myself, coming from a tech background, started to explore, okay, how is tech enabling D2C brand? Let's just dive into that, right? So that thought process started out and it's got developed over the last 2 years. And I think I'm in still very early stages of the community getting formed. The mission here is to, I look at D2C businesses in terms of stacks, right? There is an operational stack, tech stack, marketing stack, and then there is a whole other end of spectrum,
Yeah.
right? I just want to make sure the burden of tech and marketing reduces so that they're already on the streets doing a lot of the table, right? They shouldn't too much worry about how tech and marketing and not enabling them business, and just just focus on creating good, solid operations to scale, right? While we all know that is the tougher part of the game, being a tech guy and a marketing guy, I just want to make sure that burden keeps lower and lower, as we go along, right? For D2C brands. So that's pretty much it. It's gonna take its time to brew in. The community is gonna come and build itself, and I want more partners and folks like you to also come in and enable the community and see where it goes. Yeah.
Awesome. Bunch of things which excite me for this podcast. One is, of course, you are a techie, so like it is said that if you know how to build, then you are great. If you know how to sell, which you are on that journey,
Yes.
if you can do both, then you are unbeatable. So you fall into that kind of a category, which is rare. And of course, it clearly shows that you're a curious human being. I would love to learn more from you. Coming to direct to consumer brands, and since you are building one with your friend and you also consult or you see the space strategically outside, how do you think about the space? Let's say if somebody were to start, how should they go about it in terms of starting? What are the initial building blocks which you should do? Right from scoping that, okay, these are the essential things which should definitely be ticked mark before I even think about doing it. And
Sure.
then it's about, okay, what do I do today versus what do I do tomorrow? How do you think about it?
So I think the basic blocks, it actually starts out from what your own problems, to be really frank, right? Look into your own problems first, right? Are you facing issues with not having a great t-shirt which will work for you in any situation? Are you not having a great experience with your bed, right? Ask yourself the question, and whatever really gives you that pain, just make sure you have at least 100 or at least 200 of those people feeling the same pain, right? If they are feeling the same pain, go ahead and ask them that, okay, the current products you're using, you're not happy with it, obviously. Why are you not happy with it, right? I think it all starts from within and then within your circle, right? So start with that and go about asking those questions. You'll start to get your answers a bit. Once you get some of those answers, all you need to figure out is, even out there in the market, when people try to go buy this stuff, what are the patterns there, right? Are they trying to ask their friends more for these kind of products, or are they going to marketplaces to buy, right? Are they going to retail shops to buy, or are they going and trying to just follow an influencer and learn from them, right? So in the end, I think only people can give you those answers. Market can definitely give you some understanding of what's going on, what has been the learnings, what products people have hated, what people are loving, right? And what's that space in the market for even you to enter of sorts, right? Once you have figured that out, there's one more thing that you really need to keep in mind, is that as a business, how are you going to start, right? For a lot of people I've been talking to, they struggle with having a good founding team, right? As an initial set of problems, because you need somebody who maybe understands the category. You need somebody who can build your operations quite well. You also need somebody who can build a good brand and a marketing playbook for gaining customers as well, right? The selling, the term sales have changed over the time, right? It's not about just getting some random number and calling them and spamming anymore, right?
Yeah.
Actually attracting and pulling them. It's a pull strategy now, right? pulling them to your brand ethos, why you're doing it, why this product is something that you have built for people, right? What's the message you're trying to bring out there as a business as well, and how are you going to operate this? You start small, right? You start within your people. If I'm selling t-shirts, right, if I'm trying to sell a mural t-shirts to colleges, right, then I would definitely go and build a good community of students, right, and like sample them out and like eventually get them to build or give them feedback and build the product line with me as well, and then go out there, right. One more thing which is needed is also cash, right. Raising money for a direct-to-consumer brand is not that easy. Let me put it out, right? It needs a really strong understanding of how you're how your margin's gonna stand out, right? How you're gonna build your marketing playbook. How you're gonna make sure more retention comes into play as well as a part of that, right? A lot of D2C brands now have focused on like they give a plan saying we want to acquire so many people, but they forget about the fact that retention will also give them is really important from day one. Right when you get even that one customer to your doorstep, you need to make sure they stick to you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I think you touched upon a lot of wisdom gems here. In terms of, I would want to spend some time on this. I think starting with, you said that you use your experience to figure out, okay, what problems are you discovering? And then second step being, okay, is that a problem with other people also? And if you can find out 100, 200 people, then that's a problem validation that, okay, this problem exists. And maybe then you go deeper, okay, why does this problem exist and all of that? And then, but would love to know at least, all problems may not be worthy of building a D2C brand.
Yep.
How do you go about it and filter that, okay, while this is a legit problem, but this is not a direct-to-consumer business, right? Is there a filtering criteria which you implement there and say that, okay, this is not a high gross margin, this is not repeat, some of those things?
So that all actually comes to your pricing sheet, right, and your financial sheet, right? Mm-hmm. Making sure that if you're let's say creating an inventory for a shirt, which manufacturer are you using, what's the quality, for that quality how much you're going to charge for it, and are you going to go quantity over quality, choose for it, right? Mm-hmm. Because D2C brands, I feel, should look at quality first, right? Sell it as a premium brand out there, which then they'll stand out from the crowd, right, as being a really premium product in this category, which is now understood customers pretty good, right? And the next step to that, to be really frank, is actually as you build through the table, you get these answers from the customers itself, right? If you gotta go at least try out different channels first, right? D2C may not be our answer right away, right? But in the end, D2C will start to really span you when you will run out of cash flow, mm-hmm. right? If you plan to do that, then try out your options. But if your plan is to build a sustainable cash flow business, make sure D2C is the way to go, right? Bring in people to your store, get in their data, first party data, second party data. What I mean by that is, like, let's say if you're a skincare brand, right, trying to give, let's say, a cream to someone to solve their skin rashes, understand what that person goes through in your website, right? How frequent he's having these rashes, he or she is having these rashes, right? Has he have a skin history before, right? And are you the person who should recommend him a product, or should you have also a service angle of good doctors as a part of that business who will recommend him what to do for a long-term plan with your product play in it as well, being the driver of that, right, is something somebody has to really look upon, right? And with this, what D2C brands should really do is one, make sure their websites are it's like a festival. Their website should feel like the customer enters into a festival and everything is so great out there, right? Your products are speaking to them. The speed of like checking out is speaking to them, right? The kind of why is speaking to them, right? And then obviously even post purchase, right? Are you keeping them hooked? Are you keeping them communicated, right? Are you giving them enough value, not just in terms of, hey, here is a new product, buy a discount, right? But also in terms of like, okay, if let's say you're selling an FMCG brand and you're trying to just give an ingredient for making good cakes and you're building more ingredients, then you got to educate them with saying, okay, how, if you want to bake a cake, right, here is a recipe which we have built for you, right? And then with that, obviously your product position can come into play, right? I can go on and on, but like I think it's important for D2C brands to realize that have a great premium product, spend on product innovation, listen to your customers, leverage that, and then take it up the notch, and make sure you always focus on cash flow, right? That should be the top of the game every day, right? Once you hit some numbers, then you invest that into maybe creating more inventory, understanding your customers to create better products for them, and increase your product line, right? Some of the points which I think which I think is really important.
Yeah. And because you are you touched upon more similar points, that if you've ticked out all boxes that okay, this meets in terms of I should build out a D2C business, what kind of founding team is one should be thinking about? What characteristics, skills one should have apart from the normal, a founding team, which of course should have a high bias for action, think big, all of that stuff.
For sure.
Specific to D2C.
Yeah.
What are the skill sets you would recommend viewers that okay, they should be scouting for, especially in today's world where at least people have started to realize that D2C is tech enabled, not they don't need to own tech. So that's being the new realization. How are you thinking about it, and how does one build the team, founding team?
Sure. So I think starting from, you should always start with how you're gonna have a good manufacturing process set, right, as a foundation, right? Second, you need to have a great marketing thing set out, right? What I mean by that is have a great storefront, make sure you have good organic brand strategy, have someone looking at creating a movement out of your brand strategy as well, right? What I mean by that is, let's say if you're, so I know one person, right? She's trying to create this fashion brand where women can go confidently out there without wearing a bra and still having really confident dress, wear out, and have that freedom, right? So her founding team pretty much looks like she has the passion towards this. She wanted to do that, right? She talked to a lot of people. She found now a marketing person who's creating a great playbook for her to go out there, right? And now she's looking for a great operating person, right, to make sure that her somebody is out there in the streets talking to good manufacturers, setting up the warehouses, right, all of that. And while she's doing all of that, she's sticking to make sure that, hey, as soon as I start getting my first customer, I want to make sure they have great delight, right? So, and one more thing that she is definitely missing is the experience of that category, right? Somebody needs to be there, right? Either externally coming in as a mentor or a advisor in residence or whatever that is, right? To make sure that that person brings in that experience on how to create that category, how to even build your category playbook, how are you going to get into the space, how are you going to grow in the space, right?
Yeah.
So I would say these four are really key, right, to start out with, because Restall right now, the ecosystem, like some of us are so much tech enablers, we're trying to enable them, right? There's a ton of freelancers, influencers now trying to help D2C brands, right? We have a lot of agencies also in play, right? And now, what D2C brands obviously do is, hey, they need a lot of money as well to scale, right? They raise a lot of debt as well, and clearing that debt also becomes that burden for a lot of these brands. And if you need to clear that debt, hey, you got to make sure you have some cash flow coming which is already stored so that you can clear off that debt and still go on, right? There is a chain of revenue-based financing folks coming out there, right? And I think they need to enable D2C brand. But for that, these guys need to make sure that, again, coming back to the thing, that they have repeat revenue coming in, right? In order to get there. And most of these guys, yeah, there is a lot of unicorns and sunicorns out there, but we also understand that majority of them have put in their own money and have some initial money flow in, right? There are lot of bunch of folks who are out there who are bootstrapped and trying to do this, right? While some of them, some other entrepreneurs are definitely having that great skill of putting up a 5-year playbook in the category and raising money, right? So I mean, there's so much to this, I feel, and there's so much potential in India, in US, or across even the globe, for this movement to more evolve right now. Yeah.
And I think we've come at an interesting point, since you also track other countries in terms of how they are going about D2C. What are the similarities which you see, let's say India with respect to US being the at least the epitome in terms of the how D2C has grown and is a much deeper market? What are the similarities you see and what are the differences you see? And what have been your learnings in terms of, okay, this space is going to grow, which gives you confidence that, okay, this is a secular channel?
Sure. So let me actually start out from India, right, and then go to US. Sticking to our nation's old philosophy of hospitality, right, and care. Every D2C brand in India is making sure customer support is amazing, right? They have to, right? We're also engrossed to that is a need as well, right? Now with more lifestyle changes and more people earning great monies, sitting out of India in dollars and all of that has obviously created that market for more premium products to come in, right? And that means make in India for the world is happening right now, right? People in India start creating here, but also wants to build a global brand. We have seen that with Vadham, right, as an example, right, of sorts, and I love what they're doing. Right? So customer support is something that I'm seeing as one thing that all the Indian brands really focus on. Second, similarity is definitely in terms of if you make sure somebody is happy with your product, right? It doesn't matter wherever you are in the world, people will buy from you, right? As a simple funda as that, people don't understand it, right? But you gotta put in your money in product innovation, R&D, and customer delight. I keep repeating that again and again because it is needed, right? What I definitely India has definitely more potential of creating consumer brands now, because the needs have started to become more and more with our own lifestyles right now, right? Definitely, that's one thing that I've been having a hunch through a lot of looking at how things are moving right now, right? Uh, in Now coming to US, right? Uh, these folks have been at it at their content marketing game, right? Uh,
Yeah.
as consumer brands, right? They have nailed that, right? They've nailed that from a lot of years. These guys are sitting out of like farms and fields and running their brand sitting just out of a warehouse and making sure they're out there talking and making sure that telling people this is the behind the scenes of how we do this, right? This is why we do this. This is why you need to go for a vegan lifestyle, right? This is why you need to go and buy wine online, right?
Yeah.
All of that in a scenario, and like uh, that I think the whole landscape of enablement of tech and marketing is great in the US, while India right now needs obviously its own ecosystem as well for the scale that we've got and the amount of consumer behavior changes which happens in India, right, is massive, right? And so from that angle is one perspective that I can come into play, and second is actually now while native US brands are sticking, right, and people are buying. Even those folks are now even open for having a new brand from another country come in and consume it and all that, right? So we are in such a state that if you are a brand started in US, you will want to scale across. If you're a brand sitting in India, you'll want to scale.
Yeah, we're seeing that across. Indian brands going to Middle East, international brands going to India. We're finding both ways.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing right now, right? Like no more the world is so huge.
Yeah, that's the beauty of internet, right? Wherein we can find more Aashish living across the world who have, let's say, same passion for a brand, for a product, and you'll be able to service them. That's the beauty of internet, right?
I mean, like I see a lot of even people, solopreneurs who are running D2C brands in the US. They're making money online. So everything is running in an automated mode. They have set up, they have great warehouses, they have everything set up as a foundation running, and they're traveling across the world talking about their product and what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it's working there as well, right? And remote work coming into play is changing that entire game for the entire world. I mean, like these are definitely patterns, right? From an angle of even like what kind of products, right, are working against premium products, right? If you are in the category, make sure at least you're far having a premium product to really even like stand out there.
Yeah. Make a more delightful product, price it premiumly.
Yeah.
Will come at you.
Yeah, that's it. Right.
Yeah.
And also with changes, with also understanding purchase frequency as one of the important factors which is needed for brands as well. Make sure you look at least high purchase frequency and medium purchase frequency categories, right? If you are, let's say, building a jewelry brand, I mean, not out of 100, maybe one will really succeed, right? Right, and but if you're, let's say, building an FMCG brand, right, and you're trying to sell maybe corn chips, right? For example, you can build that space for you in the market of people who loves corn and all of that, and tell them the benefits of concepts, right? And at least like have a good business running for you, right? And because it's food, it can be like that stickiness factor is so much that somebody can end up buying it every day or at least weekly for a big pack, right? Like they can go on a subscription based model every month, right? So that at least you know that I can engage my loyal customers with more subscriptions coming into play. And subscriptions right now are becoming so important, right, for D2C brands to look at. But obviously, the thing with that is you can subscribe to things which is either consumed daily, weekly, or at least monthly, right? You can't subscribe to a D2C brand who is selling premium bread, right?
Yeah.
You can't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think I wanted to touch upon, you mentioned two things, and I think those are great points. That, as the macroeconomic environment is turning, not so much in India, but at least globally, are you seeing a shift in terms of the way brands are thinking, the pain points which they are now facing? Is that changing, and what's changing, and what are the pain points which are now emerging, which brands are facing in this environment? And it's going to get tougher, at least in US. So what are you seeing?
So supply chain issues are starting to become a huge problem because as a D2C brand, having a good supply chain is needed, and everybody is going to fight for that within that category.
Yeah.
Right. It's a huge pain point, right? I don't know how to address it. I'm trying to figure that out as well, like on how brands are doing it, right? Second is definitely make sure you rely more on your own channels for your revenue, right? At this point of time, or like even generally speaking, that's a very good practice to have, right? Making sure you invest in owning your customer data, right? Making sure you set up that entire understanding that segment, understanding your customers, making sure like you are talking to them, right? Building that loyalty within your own ecosystem, maybe through community programs, maybe through VIP initiatives, may be all of that is very key, right? Everybody needs right now. Everybody is now wants personalization, right? With everybody now relying on first-party data, that means that SaaS enablers who will come with ML and AI and data enablement and all of that in a much more fashion to be accessible for even consumer brands, even smaller consumer brands, will also enable them to become better.
Yeah.
And definitely privacy is becoming a really important thing from consumers' point of view in the US. Apple has made sure everybody is within the Apple ecosystem, right? iOS 16 now is creating issues in SMS. Some of the bigger D2C brands are considering now to build their own mobile apps and use push notifications now.
The channel.
To interact with customers. Let's see how this changes, right? And one thing which I am also like still exploring and researching of this whole Web3 NFT game coming into play within the consumer space, right? Maybe we'll touch upon that, or if you can touch upon that in your next series, I would love to listen to it. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that at least in today's world, it was your advice, as well as I think I am seeing brands also becoming a lot more conscious about retention as a channel.
Yes.
Right. How have you seen brands or any brands or any players which have done this really well in terms of retention and retargeting? Would love to know.
Sure. I would actually love to point out Indian brand, Neiman's. They are your customers as well, right? I saw that, and I'm wearing them right now, right, as we speak, and it's become one of my favorite in India, right? Uh, uh, Taran's whole history, how it came about, right? So what Neiman's did was pretty cool, right? This He went around, he saw that how people were creating shoes was an issue. Second, you can't wear, like, you have to change your shoes for every different occasion, right? It's a pain, right? So you gotta have that one shoes which can be comfortably wearing everything, right? And what it also came with that is he has made sure that there is a right, towards Neiman's, right? And I bought recently from Neiman's. Okay, so when I went to their website, again, top notch, right? Talking about vibe right there, connected with me, right? And then when I bought from them, right, making sure that I'm updated on where it is, making sure that I am excited to receive the product. And once the product is received, when I open that packaging, wow, right? There was a proper messaging in terms of why, now that you have it, right? This is how you should look at it, right? This is how you can convert that into a seed and plant a tree, right? And then now what has happened is I am such a loyal customer to Neiman's that here it's coming back on my Instagram ad that, okay, do you want a chappal? Do you want to gift your girlfriend the same, right? Do you want to get your parents also be comfortable, right? And one of the brands that really I feel is doing a great job in India is definitely Neiman's, right? And all my support and love towards Taran on what they're doing at Neiman's, right?
Yeah, of course, they're doing really well in terms of that. And I think it's a fantastic brand, as you also said, that it resonates a lot.
It resonates a lot, right? And the sustainability play is for the larger mission of us as a world. And yes, it is important as well, right? Obviously, not everybody can do that, right? It needs to be a premium product again, right? With a great brand mission in play to really stand out there and build what Taran is doing, along with like that empathy towards the world as well that he has, right, on creating a better world for us, right? Not many brands do that, right? So yeah, I mean, just a personal favorite there, right?
Sure. I think we're coming towards the end of this, so a couple of quick questions before we wrap this up. You mentioned that a brand or a company should be high on product innovation. What are the few names which come to you which have done well on product innovation?
Okay, so let me think about it now. So I think let me go back to Nike actually, right? The way Nike built their entire product line is really inspiring, right? They have made sure it's community driven, right? They have made sure there's a lot of R&D which goes in terms of building new products, right? And making sure that they listen to their customers for their product innovation is really important, right? Sleep Company is also doing a great job, right? And also recently I've also seen smaller brands, right? So there's a brand I would like to name. They're called as Zwatra Peanut Butter, right? You would not have heard of them, right? They're our first customers for Moda, right? And this man has been running it from 2 years, right? You gotta taste their peanut butter. You will be delighted, right?
Wow. How do you spell that?
Zwatra Peanut Butter.
Okay.
Right? like yes, peanut butter is really common and jams are very common, but this guy is bringing out flavors, seeds, healthiness in peanut butter, and that joy of different kinds of peanut butter going with different kinds of, let's say, breads, right, is coming into play and making peanut butter a common, joyful thing, right? Is something that he's definitely craving towards, right?
Oh wow.
While I wanted a really big brand, right, I want to bring in even these smaller brands
Of course, this is product innovation, right? Wherein you're taking a product, adding a twist to it.
right,
Seen Epigamia do it.
yeah,
And we are now seeing even Fable Street do it in terms of product innovation. I think, which also takes me to, I think you also mentioned that customer support is which Indian D2C brands are doing well. Which
Yeah.
are the few which stand out for you, which are like, doing this A-class, 5-star white glove treatment in terms of customer support?
So again, a smaller brand called as Guduchi Ayurveda, I would love to point out. Right? Prashant has been really great with their customer support. Right? Whenever I buy from them, immediately after like 5 minutes, I get a call from them. Right? And this is not a call on, hey, thank you for ordering me, you're gonna get your order. Yes, thank you for telling me that, but it is a conversation that they start, right, in terms of, okay, why did you choose Ayurveda, right, what is going on with you, right? It becomes as if a doctor is talking to you and trying to understand, okay, what prescription should I really give you, right? Why are you considering to move from English medicine to Ayurveda, right? Things like these, right? Customer support, yeah, is all about addressing issues, addressing stress, all of that in customer standpoint.
Yeah.
But hey, if you have great automations and setup running, you can sort that part of the table, right? And all you can focus on is just making sure you have that care towards customer problems, right?
Yeah.
Customer support doesn't stop just on a chat or just on a call. Getting that into a community angle as well is really needed, right? Making sure they join your community, providing that support to them and involving them is also part of customer support and success after that, right? So I'm a fan of small brands right now, Chirag. Right?
Yeah. That's the space to be in.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I tell about their stories, and that's the whole intent of D2C Drive.
Yeah, I think we've ran out of time today, but this has been fascinating talking to you, and we would love to do a phase 2 of this, part 2 of this, wherein we talk about more small brands. How are they going about the niches?
Yes.
What are their pain points? How personalization can be done from them? There's a lot to learn from you, but we look forward to having you again in part 2 of this. And thank you so much for taking our time.